Hello, hi everyone. So we will be with our groups on the community, on the teacher educator community. We have some groups who will present their group presentations and their collaborative outputs. So the first group is from ALPACT group, and Xiong will be representing her group on how to be a reflective educator despite a busy schedule. And they will be presenting their poster, which is a useful guide to several English language professionals. And they say that it can be used by new practitioners to help them learn from their novice experience, or by experienced practitioners to develop themselves further. So let's find out more about their collaborative outputs. So Xiong, are you here with us? Please turn on your microphone and camera. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Siren. I will share my screen now. Yes.
Yes, please.
Right. Do you see my screen?
Yes, if you can also make it full screen. Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, it is. Okay. Hello. Thank you everyone for sparing us for our team to present our output, collaborative output. So today it's only me to present on behalf of the whole group because Rakia and Retta cannot make the slot today to present, but the work we've done today is a collaborative one, so it's a whole team's efforts. Okay, so I'm Xiong. I'm from Vietnam. I'm based in Manchester now. Rakia is based in Nigeria, and Retta is based in Ethiopia. And we come together due to LPACT, a community group. So we work on some little research and mini action and some experimenting on how to be a reflective educator despite a busy schedule. So the presentation or the poster today is for anyone who is a teacher or a trainer with very hectic schedules. If you are the one, then hopefully you find this presentation helpful to you. Okay, so we want to start with share with you the vision of what you can aim at when you are a reflective educator or a teacher. So so we have a look at Jasper 2003's work. His work is, this research is about nursing, for nursing professionals, but we found this one is relevant to education as well. So sharing the three aspects here. So when you are a reflective educator, you can aim at being like an autonomous and self-directed professional, because as you know, you're learning from your own experience, and you're able to be aware of what your weaknesses are and what your strengths are, and from there you know what you're very good at to develop further or to share with your colleagues or other peers. And at the same time, you know what are the areas you need to develop further. So you kind of like very independent in your learning. You are your own teacher or trainer at the same time when you're training other teachers. And the last one is to be qualified. This is kind of a two-sided aspect that from our reflection when we read about this aspect of vision. So if you are a newly qualified trainer or educator, it's important to reflect on your practice, to integrate what you learn, like the knowledge you learn in your training course, to become an educator, into your daily practice. So you kind of like make it finer and more helpful to you, and categorize to you, more individualized to you, what is really good and really worked out. You kind of experiment the knowledge you learn. And at the same time, as a qualified teacher or educator, you reflect on what you have been doing, and from there you can share your experience, which is triangulated with your real experience, and then everything is like very complete when you reflect. So imagine if you have your daily experience, but you just keep going and you don't reflect on it. It's just like raw data without being studied or analyzed. So it's such a waste. And it's really like, that's why it's very important to be qualified and to be even more qualified after you just qualified. So that's our reflection when we read around this one as well. And then what a reflective educator does. So as you may have known, we analyze our feelings, we evaluate our experience, we focus on our own experience on daily basis. And when we do that, we're not doing that without purpose. We need to define our own learning objectives. So imagine when you sit down, you reflect on your teaching or your training sections. You will need to have your own objectives or aims when you do that, right? You need to know what area you need to focus on reflecting. So it's going to be very oriented and organized and very quick as well. And it's important to do that regularly. Also, we find feedback on our teaching from other people, maybe our colleagues or our supervisors, or even just even our trainees or other teachers that we trained. And we can also see that when we're doing that, we keep looking for solutions and getting updated to improve our education or improve our practice. It's very likely that we will adapt different strategies and technologies into our into our training. And finally, there are always a lot of chances for us to improve ourselves as long as we are aware of our own strong and weak areas to improve. So yeah, so that's some suggestions of what an educator might do. Okay, but that is very ideal when we think about what we can get, what we should do. But I'm so busy, right? So I think a lot of you agree with me that as a teacher or as a trainer, educator, you're really busy with all of your commitments, either personal or professional. One example that I is, so Rakia, one of the team members, she interviewed her colleagues in Nigeria at her school. So you can see that we found some interesting insights. So from the teachers, but participant teachers, they say that PE interview is not possible for them because they have to commute for 2 hours every day to go to school. And they don't have a deliberate plan for their team, like peer teaching or peer observation. And their classes are usually really large, really huge, like 80 to 100 students. The photo is from Rakia's, so it's from her context of teaching. So she say that the participant teachers say that because of these, the size of the class, it's very hard for them to reflect on the intake that the students get, like how much knowledge the students really got, or really how much knowledge really retain, really stay. So it's really hard for them to evaluate that one. And even though the teachers are very aware of the differences in individual students, it's really challenging for them to decide, oh, should I categorize in this way or that way to fit to meet my students' needs. So that is one of the challenges. The second one is the teachers want to have some resources for observation later. They want to film the lessons, but they don't have facilities for this. I don't have the reason why, maybe the school's funding or so, but that is another challenge as well. So yeah, if you have really hectic schedule like this as well, so we can have a look at further details as well. So we have some useful ideas for you to have a look. Some of them you might have known already, but you might have never done it. So we have a look at it further. The very first one is to keep a journal. Of course, yeah, so you know this idea that we keep a written journal, but it's really hard to really do it in a very efficient way. Again, our presentation is to try to focus on being reflective, but also efficient. So we're not taking away a lot of time from your own time. So when you keep a journal, it's important to keep the lesson aims and personal aims in mind, which are different depending on different teaching stages or development stages. For example, for this month, I might focus on how to engage my trainees more or my students more. Next month, I can focus on how to adapt technology into my lessons. So you can see different periods of your professional development you will have different personal aims, and different lessons will have different lesson aims. As long as you keep that in mind when you reflect, you're very self-oriented and very sufficient in time as well. Another tip for you to use to help you reflect a bit faster or more efficiently is to keep a reflection model or a template ready. So if you know in mind that, okay, I need to reflect on what I've done well, what didn't go well, or some other reflection models, I will share with you another one later when I give you an example. But you will know when you have a template, you don't have to take time to think about how you should do this. And then another idea is to build a reflection routine. It's just like you wake up and brush your teeth, you know automatically what you need to do. So as long as we build a routine, we find it not something you have to put extra effort every day to do it. It's just like part of your daily activities. The next two activities are more time consuming, but it's really, really rewarding. Like record your lessons or peer observations, sit down and have a look at what you've done with someone who's also understanding your context, like your colleagues. But that one, we understand that it needs time and communication. And we need our management team to understand that as well. So the communication I emphasize here is to communicate with like our management team, whoever decide the timetables or scheduling for you at your workplace, to set aside some time for reflective teaching or reflective practice. So you can develop yourself, you can self-train, you can collaborate with each other to bring values to the organization. So the communication here is just not among colleagues, among like peer teachers or trainers, but also between teachers and supervisors or directors of studies, for example, just to have really integrate reflective practice into daily schedules. Right. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, let me share with you again. I think, right. Okay, sorry everyone. Just a glitch there. Okay, so so after we done some research like that, I put the ideas into practice and I communicated with my colleagues at school. So I'm working at British Study Centres in Manchester now. So I invited two teachers at my school to join this experiment. So before joining experiment, the teachers share with me that they usually reflect on their teaching by thinking about what happened, what went well and what did not, simply just in their mind. They hardly keep a written record of their daily reflection, even though they do so. So the reason is they think they don't have time. So after that conversation, I provided them with a template of 2-minute reflection based on Gibbs reflection model that you can see on your on the right of your screen now, with 6 steps that you can fill in. So they basically they can just fill in the boxes like that about what they have done and what they will do in the future to make changes. So after the experiment, the teachers say that the reflection took them longer than 2 minutes, and they seem to have enough insights about a reflection model, which makes sense because this activity is just my own thing. I didn't really have like a proper training section for the teachers to understand this model well. So yeah, so however, the positive thing that they reported was they say, one of the teachers say that the activity of reflection help them to realize more clearly what to focus on in terms of planning and preparing for the lessons. So, which is something make me feel really hopeful, and I wish in the future I can bring this idea to the directors of studies to really set aside some time for training, which is paid, and they can have reflection on their teaching as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's all for our presentation. And thank you so much for your attention. Any question feel free to raise, and I'm happy to answer them.
Chuang, that was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much indeed. Poster. I've never heard, and I think I'm going to carry this with me, anybody say before, if you don't reflect on your practice, it's a waste of data. How true that is. Fantastic. What I think we'll do, we'll collect the questions and any comments that we receive, and we'll come back to them at the end. So if you stay with us, Shuang, for any questions that come in about your poster, about reflection, and about dealing with a busy schedule. So yeah, great heart, thumbs up, perfect. Like 2 of the other presentations, Sajani and Jocelyn and Ganga, who has now joined us. Great, hello Ganga, hi. Are all part of the learning pathways into the Assured Certificate in Teacher Education, the LPACT group. So they'll be sharing their presentation on a digital poster for teacher educators. Over to you.
Thank you, John. Hi, everyone. Glad to meet you all virtually here on this symposium. We are going to present you a digital poster on taking responsibility on one's own professional development. Okay. Yes. This is a team presentation, as John said, and I'm glad to introduce you our team. Is Ganga? Yes, I'm Sajani from Sri Lanka, and these are my colleagues, Jocelyn from Nigeria and Ganga again from Sri Lanka. And we are going to show you what we have prepared. Yes, this is our poster, taking responsibility for one's own professional development. There, we have prepared this poster for the LPACT under LPACT program, and there are 2 main segments. One is areas of CPD, and the other is possible measures that we can take to develop ourselves under CPDs. Let's discuss in detail these areas. Yes, now you all know that we live in a crisis-stricken world. So in this, to cater to the needs of today's world, we have identified 2 areas of CPD that are needed for us to develop ourselves as teacher educators. One is in skills in remote or hybrid teaching, and the other is on training teachers their skill training, that is incorporation of learning and teaching strategies, because under this crisis-stricken scenario, we need to help our teachers who are under us, and we need to empower ourselves as well. So, and we'll discuss possible measures for CPD as well. Let's move to the areas of CPD. Yes, as discussed, one area in skills or remote skills in remote or hybrid teaching is adapting curriculum to the existing reality. You know that we can't, under this situation, under emergency situations, we can't impart the full syllabus. So we have to have a need analysis and prioritize our needs on what we are going to do with our students or the teachers. And then we have to provide education in emergency situations. How to do that? So we need that to be developed in that as well. Then teachers skill training on learning and teaching strategies. So under that, to provide them some support, we need to support basically the support teachers on supporting students learning from home in emergency situations or remote or hybrid situations. And for that, we need to develop paper-based and online material and design tasks and activities for both high-tech and low-tech learners to cater to that, to make them all inclusive in our learning situations. And then we have to adapt more teaching materials for delivering via several modes, just like WhatsApp, maybe via Adobe, maybe via Zoom. So likewise, there are different platforms. So we have to adjust what we have used face-to-face, all those material into these new scenarios. And there should be training on different pedagogical approaches for the teachers and for us as well as teacher educators on learning to learn and several other teaching approaches, new trends. And teachers should be provide knowledge on cross-curricular projects. That means there may be several subjects that we can work through, just like science and social studies. So through these several subjects, we can have one project going across. So we have to tell the teachers how to handle them and how to share the resources among the several teachers of several subjects. And finally, we have to optimize facility for monitoring and evaluation as well, because it is much needed to evaluate what is done at last. So then we'll talk about the possible measures of CPD. So when we are talking about professional development, we need not necessarily to do that engage in following professional courses. We can get experience from the experts. We can talk to them. So there may be experts on your staff as well. Okay, so then, and face-to-face workshops we can attend, and online communities. There are several online communities, basically WhatsApp communities are available there, and online communities just like here as well, symposiums, and informal talks on teaching and learning with your colleagues at the staff room. So when you are having a coffee or tea, you can talk to them, and you can observe your friends, your colleagues, how they are doing. And as just earlier, Zoom and Malika and Rasika were talking about reflective practitioner, always reflect on what we have done, what went wrong, what I would do again, and COPs. So so that's talked enough here. And reading individually for our development, or in reading groups where we can share our thoughts, and doing action researches, just as Rasika and Manika discussed earlier, and even soon discussed that, doing some action research on areas that we need, so we find some issues, and conducting sessions by ourselves on what we have gathered, or writing articles or blogs or books. Now, Jocelyn will talk on beneficiaries and benefits of these CPDs.
Hello, everyone. Hello. I'm sorry about the video. I tried to fix it. I don't know what's happening to my laptop today. So I'll be talking about beneficiaries and benefits of self-development. So when we take responsibility for our professional development, we affect other people positively. We affect them indirectly and directly. And so we have different beneficiaries of self-development. First, we have teacher educators and teachers. When we strive for self-development, we become better at what we do, in teaching, workshops, in becoming facilitators, in facilitating workshops, in facilitating trainings. We become better as we strive for development. We become up to date. We will be up to date with the trends that come up in our fields. We become better. We get better methods and activities to use in our classes or in workshops. Next, we have course designers, institutions. I'm just going to sum them up together. Course designers, institutions, administrators, students, and parents. Self-development, striving for professional development, helps in getting better, improved curriculum. It helps in improving system of education. And also we get, when we develop ourselves more, we get professionally, we get more professional activities and methods that will help encourage our learners and also us as teacher educators or teachers in learning to become captivated in learning, teaching and learning. Then we have benefits of self-development. First is self-actualization. When we develop ourselves professionally, we become self-aware of our potentials and our limitations and know how to know our limits, know where we need to stop and where we can go further. Then when we develop ourselves professionally, we become more creative in teaching. We become more creative in what we do. We get more ways of solving problems. We become better in problem solving. And we also become productive, more productive in our fields. Then we will be more organized in our activities and become effective in teaching or in organizing workshops or trainings. Thank you. Now over to Ganga. Ganga will continue from here.
Yes, thank you, Sirin, and hello, everyone. In this part of the presentation, I'm going to share our reflection on what we did, the task of producing the digital poster. Let me go to the reflection on the task of producing the digital poster and how it can be used for CPD. First, we must thank Hussein, our mentor, for assigning us this creative task. Actually, we were not aware of, like, we had not thought of this kind of activities in CPD, and she introduced us this creative task as a part of LPACT coursework. It was a teamwork where three of us, Sajani, Jacqueline, myself, the purple team, we worked together collaboratively. First, we individually did some research, especially went through the reading materials recommended by our mentor Hussein and made notes. Then we divided responsibilities among three of us. Then the content was decided and the poster was designed. Let me show you our digital poster again. This was the digital poster, and it was a challenge to present everything in nutshell because we had the challenge of putting everything on one single slide, and this led us for further research. As a result, Hyperlinks were added in order to make it precise without losing any important points. Here we have added hyperlinks. When the reader or the user of this poster click the hyperlink, that person will be directed to the things we have put in nutshell there. So this kind of the hyperlinks were added to not to lose any important points or the facts in our presentation. Sorry. And let me share the presentation again. Yeah. When the hyperlink is clicked, you will be directed to further facts to useful links. So in that way, we just learned how to put everything into one slide and without losing important points. And also to promote inclusion and equity, a voice reader was added, the facilitating the readers with the users with reading difficulties. This was a good practice, of course, which made us think different techniques we could use in our teacher education programs to make our participants engage in reading, researching, and be creative in presenting and sharing facts. Meanwhile, we worked in different time zones and we practiced to be flexible, listen to and value each other's ideas and compromise in order to reach a common goal. And professional, through our experience, we recommend creating tasks of this nature, creating posters, creating digital posters for any CPD program. Before concluding, on behalf of the team, I must thank Hussein and Sirin for mentoring us throughout this process. And thank you all for listening. May all your personal and professional lives prosper. Happy 2023. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ganga, for those warm words at the end, in particular. Jocelyn and Sajani, really, really nice, clear presentation there. And I think one thing that really helped, the shot of the poster, the product that you've produced at the end of this. I've got a few things to perhaps say at the end of this session, and we'll get to those. But what I think we can do now is to move on. I think, yeah. So yeah, that's fine. So what for me, what has come out of across the 4 presentations, which I think is really, really important, fundamentally important. In Xiong's presentation, the idea of reflection came up, and there were some comments about reflection and how can reflection help, for example, teachers to develop professionally. How does it help, you know, in difficult and challenging circumstances that teachers may face, you know? So it's kind of an important theme in teacher education. I think that that's come out really strongly across what you've been talking about this morning. And I think that other themes like how do you be empathetic, what does personal, you know, so some general themes about skills and competence that teacher educators need to have. So I think that's the first thing that's come out really strongly in it. I think the second thing is to do with the process that you've been through and the experience that you've had in being members of these small groups, these small communities of practice, which I think has been illuminating, you know, and I think it's a real instruction that picks up on some of the things that Tony was talking about this morning about, you know, how do you feel within a group? What are the best ways of communicating within a group? You talked about ascribing roles and responsibilities, for example. How are they done? You know, how are those roles assigned, for example? And I think the last thing to bring this together, is that you've talked about the product as well. So as well as touching on themes that are basic relevance, importance for teacher educators, as well as talking about the process of coming together, you also talked about the products, these collaborative outputs. And, we feel very strongly that the collaborative outputs are part of a principle, part of a feature, if you like, of the communities of practice that we're encouraging. What I'd like to suggest then, having, I think, for me anyway, captured 3 really, really important things that run across all 4 presentations this morning. What I'd like to do is to encourage people to continue the discussion in the lobby chat. The questions that have come in about reflection and about constraints, etc. So to bring those into the lobby chat, and then we will move on now to the next session. So thank you so much indeed, colleagues Shuang and Rashika and Malika, Samanti and Geeta and Sajani and Jocelyn and Ganga, and to all of the people in your groups, thank you so much for sharing some really, really interesting stories, the narrative around those big themes that are important for teacher educators, the process that you went through, and the products that you arrived at in the end. So thank you very much indeed. Please stay with us. Got lots of very interesting things coming up on the program. Thank you so much indeed. So we're now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great pleasure to be with you all.
Okay then. So we're now going to move to the next session. So a day in the life of an engagement lead. So we're going to finish in this room and we'll see you in the next room. So thank you very much indeed. See you in a few seconds. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, John.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.